Welcome to Asian Anifacts, the channel about Chinese, Korean and Taiwanese actors and actresses. Today I will show you the lists of dramas of Ken Chu, Part 4, which includes his main role in the costume martial arts drama The Legend of Chu Xiang, his main roles in the idol drama Wish to See You Again, and his main role in the youth romance drama Momo Love. But before I continue, please don't forget to subscribe, like and comment on who do want me to feature next. The Legend of Chu Xiang, 2007. Cast: Ken Chu, Sophia Hu, Chu Jia-hyun, Sun Feifei, Cui Peng, Qingwen Wang. He played Chu Xiang, a thief who has great and rare martial arts skills that robs the rich and help the poor. Chu Xiang pretended to be a dumb guy named Daoi and sneaked into the Yun Lion as a server to steal from the lady boss of the brothel, who cheats unsuspecting men of their money using her charm. But after the lady boss was saved by a dai from the three martial arts master who wanted her dead, she fell in love with Chu Xiang and decided to quit defrauding people and leave the brothel. Chu Xiang went out to have a talk with his monk friend, and when he went back to the brothel with his companion, they found that everyone had died from the poison named Tianyi Divine Water, the secret weapon of the Divine Water Palace, a martial arts sect whose members are all female. The Divine Water Palace suspects Chu Xiang of stealing the Tianyi Divine Water from them and committing the murder in the brothel, so they attack him, but Chu Xiang negotiates and asked for 3 months to investigate the case. Chu Xiang found a mutilated portrait of a beauty that led him to the Sand Gang, where he disguises himself as a wealthy businessman and meets Su Rongrong, a beautiful woman with a docile temperament and a good sense of humanity who was looking for the culprit who killed her father. Chu Xiang and Su Rongrong quickly gained the trust of the Sand Gang leader and was able to infiltrate the group. Chu Xiang also met the sassy leader of the beggar gang and developed feelings for her, while he and Su Rongrong continue to investigate. In their investigation, Chu Xiang and Su Rongrong constantly experience life-threatening situations, and Chu Xiang always saves Su Rongrong that made her fell in love with him when she found out his real identity. But after knowing that Chu Xiang was in love with someone else, she decided to keep her feelings for herself and remain friends with Chu Xiang. But Chu Xiang found out that the woman that he loves was involved in the murder that they were investigating as they continued to dig on the biggest conspiracy behind the murder. Wish to See You Again, 2008. Cast: Ken Chu, Vic Zhou, Qingwen Wang, Michelle Chen, Terry Kwan, Van Ness Wu. He played Ding Yuhao, a taxi driver who used to be a son of a rich family in Taiwan who lives in the US, but after his father's shoe company encountered a monetary issue, they lost their wealth, and he secretly returned to Taiwan and became a taxi driver. On the birthday celebration of his boss, he came in late at the shop as he had many passengers, but he was shocked to see his high school best friend Su Lu, who also works as a taxi driver. After recovering from his shock, Ding Yuhao denied knowing his best friend, and tried to enjoy the celebration and refused to meet Su Li's eyes, who was in disbelief that his best friend, who he believes was living a good life in the US, is in Taiwan working as a taxi driver. Su Lu is a best-selling author who is experiencing writer's block, and to find inspiration he became a taxi driver to observe people and knows their story, believing it could give him the inspiration to write again. Ding Yuhao decided to leave the birthday celebration early to avoid Su Lu, but Su Lu follows Ding Yuhao, who still refuses to talk to Su Lu about himself and drives away to respond to a customer's call. While driving, Ding Yuhao reminiscent of the time he meets Su Lu in high school and all the fun and sadness that they experienced together. In high school, Ding Yuhao was a young master of a wealthy family who has his own car, and Su Lu was a silent young man who was raised in an orphanage. Due to Ding Yuhao's persistence to befriend Su Lu started to open up his life and truly accepted Ding Yuhao and another young man as a best friend. But after graduating high school, Ding Yuhao went to the US to study and learn the business of their family and lost contact with his two best friends. Ding Yuhao received a call from the office that a customer was waiting for a taxi at the Triangle Ferry under the Qingde Bridge, and he was upset to see that it was Su Lu who called him, and later their other friend also arrived. Ding Yuhao was asked by his best friend why he never contacts them, but he refused to answer them, and they ended up fighting. Ding Yuhao was called by his father's friend to come to his clinic, and he gave Ding Yuhao a massage and an advice not to be ashamed on what happened to his father. The next day Ding Yuhao didn't come to work. Instead, he went into an arcade and played all day. Once tired, he went home to attend to the orchids in the rooftop of his rented house, without noticing Su Lu, who was observing him. At night Ding Yuhao drinks alcohol and was visited by the daughter of his father's friend, whom he nearly kissed after she continued to scold him for drinking alcohol every night, which was bad for his stomach. Later, when Ding Yuhao was alone, he was visited by Su Lu, who brought snacks and alcohol, and they got drunk together. The next day Ding Yuhao was annoyed to see Su Lu, who has decided to stay in his house, and when he tried to argue with him, he was shaken because the Su Lu, who rarely fight back, started to fight with him just to get what he wants, something that Ding Yuhao usually did when they were young. Later, Ding Yuhao received a call from his other best friend informing him that Su Lu was in critical condition in the hospital. Ding Yuhao ditches his passenger so he can come to the hospital and saw the unconscious Su Lu, which made him break down in tears. But when a nurse came to inform his best friend to have Su Lu drink the medicine when he wakes up, he finally realizes that he was tricked into coming into the hospital and was about to leave. But Su Lu woke up and Ding Yuhao finally reconciled with his friends, who now willingly help him rebuild his life once again. Momo Love. 2009. Cast: Ken Chu, Cindy Wang, Jiro Wang, Wang Jingluan, Sphinx Ting, Godfrey Gao. He played Chen Qi, the eldest brother of the 6 siblings of the Chen family, who works as a meteorologist in a morning news TV channel. As the eldest, he was responsible for taking care of his youngest and only sister Chen Taohua, who was not ashamed for the love and care that she received from her 5 brothers. But when Chen Taohua grows to become a beautiful young woman who was adored by many young men, her brother's overprotection became her biggest trouble. While Chen Qi was in the makeup room waiting for his turn to report the weather forecast of the day, he received a picture of a man proposing to his youngest sister to be her boyfriend. Chen Qi rushed to leave the broadcasting station after stating his report for the weather forecast and went to Chen Taohua's school together with his other brothers, and they confronted their sister's suitor. At first Chen Qi was impressed on the background of the suitor of Chen Taohua, but after finding one fault on the grade of the suitor, he and his 3 brothers decided to leave the suitors on top of a big statue of a hawk. At home, Chen Qi and his 3 brothers surprised Chen Taohua with a newly renovated room and spacious room for herself, seeing that she is now a young lady who needs privacy and more space. The next day Chen Qi wakes up Chen Taohua from a video recording in her computer as she oversleeps again, and he reminds her to grab a light jacket because even though it won't rain, the atmosphere was a bit low. But when Chen Qi went home from work, he didn't see Chen Taohua and tried to find her in her school. Chen Qi did not find his sister, so when he went home, he and his 3 brothers scolded their youngest brother for losing Chen Taohua out of his sight when it was his responsibility to ensure that Chen Taohua went home with him. As they could not find Chen Taohua, Chen Qi and his brothers reminisced the day Chen Taohua was born. Chen Qi's mother was a very strict mother to her son, but when Chen Taohua was born she became a loving mother. Because of this, Chen Qi and his brother believed that Chen Taohua was their lucky star that they need to protect for their parents' sake. So, Chen Qi and his brother were constantly monitoring and protecting Chen Taohua. But unbeknownst to them that their protection on Chen Taohua is no longer helping her grow on way she wants. Because Chen Taohua learns to fall in love and wanted more freedom from the watchful eyes of her brothers. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe if you want to see more videos like this.